For a little help with that, we're going to bring in America's accountant and accounting professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. Dan, good morning.
Good morning, Amanda.
Dan, the market's finishing down yesterday, heading into the weekend. Inflation soaring to 5.2% in March. Dan, this is a 40-year high here. Do you think there's an end in sight?
Unfortunately, I don't think there is. Look, a lot of red on the stock market this week. So what was going on? I think a few things. First, what's happening in China? China seems to be locking down their major cities because of the COVID outbreak. What does that mean? It means it's going to be a lot more difficult to get supplies, to get stuff. So that's going to trigger inflation to go even higher. So until we start to address our supply chain challenges, I think we're in for, unfortunately, a very long haul related to inflation. It just won't go away.
You know, Dan, we've been talking a lot about inflation when it comes to food prices as well. But one thing I want to point out, there's this steel plant that the Ukrainian military is still holding back. They produce tons of steel, and that goes globally. So this is something else that we should expect to see moving forward. What do you think about that?
Well, that's very true. Look, when we look at how the global economy works, we're all interdependent upon each other. So when we have events around the world, specifically now a war in Ukraine, we're going to feel that everywhere, and especially Europe, because that war is right in their backyard. So I would like to think that Europe would be a lot more proactive than they are. Unfortunately, kind of getting the can kick down the road to our end of the street. And ultimately, we need to have that war stop for economic benefit, one of many reasons, but economic benefit, of course.
Dan, well, you know, we're here talking business and the economy, and this word right here seems like a scary one: recession. Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of America are all predicting a recession. Do you agree with this, and should we be worried?
Yeah, we should be worried, and I'll tell you why. Because this inflation problem is not going away. The reason it's not going away is we are not changing policies in order to address why inflation is here. It's too much demand, not enough supply. So what's our reaction? We keep pumping up demand. You know, when I look at this situation, it's like two people in a rowboat. One is putting water in the rowboat, the other is taking it out. Why? Because we're trying to create more demand, wrong move. And on the other side, we have the prospect of higher interest rates to try to cool down demand. It makes absolutely no sense. And that's why we're in the situation that we are.
Dan, do you think it's actually going to curb demand?
Well, interest rates going up are ultimately, yes, going to curb demand. But here's the problem, Amanda. You have to keep raising interest rates and raising interest rates until you get to the point where it actually works. And when it works, that's when we find ourselves in recession. That's why this thing should have been addressed months ago.
Dan, okay, so switching gears here, as we said right before the break, this story has me pretty excited. I'm a huge Chipotle fan, and they're known for a pretty simple menu. You go in, you got your burritos, your bowls, tacos maybe, chips, guac, and some queso. And the company owner actually saying that a lot of their profit comes from things like their guacamole, because people are going in and they're like, a few extra dollars on guacamole, we'll just get that. But they're actually looking to add to their menu, and their next venture is going to be dessert. My guess, just for the, any Chipotle fans out there, maybe the company owners listening, maybe some churros over here. But Dan, will you be ordering Chipotle dessert?
Well, I certainly will. Look, there's two sides to this story. One, anytime you're talking about adding dessert, I view that as a positive. But from a business standpoint, here's what Chipotle's saying. They're anticipating that more people are going to be coming into their restaurant locations, more foot traffic. That means they want to add something that people can actually eat in the restaurant, which is dessert. Dessert is a real challenge when people are ordering for delivery. So that's what I think we're signaling from a business standpoint. But from my dietary standpoint, it may not be a great thing, but I 100% support this move.
The demand for Chipotle growing right there. Thank you, Dan Geltrude, this morning for that.
Thank you.